Hello and welcome to Story Time with Mr. Hallum. Guess what, everybody? Today, depending on what day you're watching it, is the last day of school. Unless you're watching it in like December, in which case, obviously not. But today, May 22nd, 2020, the year that was very, very confusing, it's the last day of school. It doesn't feel like the last day of school because we've been home for a while, and so several kids have missed graduation, and because they've missed graduation, I've decided to read today. I let my group vote on it, and we picked another book. That one's too quick. I'd finish it in like 2 minutes. So we're going to read The Berenstain Bears Graduation Days by Mike Berenstain. I guess that's Berenstain Bears. There's a thing that's the name has changed, and people that are my age remember it as the Bernstein Bears, and now it changed to the Berenstain Bears or something. It's very confusing. I don't know. But so we're going to read about graduation day because it's the last day of school. It's like a graduation day. Spring was nearly over in Bear County. The daffodils and tulips had come and gone. So had Easter candy and Mother's Day cards. June was about to arrive, and for Brother and Sister Bear, that meant just one thing: no more school. Excuse me. Just so you know, that's not COVID-19. That's just an ordinary sneeze. You're all safe. Sister was finishing first grade, and Brother was moving up from third grade. Even little Honey. So sorry, that sneeze made me yawn. I'll start over. Sister was finishing first grade, and Brother was moving up from third. Even little Honey was ending her first year of daycare. They all learned a lot in school this year. Brother's class studied the earth and learned about rocks, earthquakes, and volcanoes. He even made a model of a volcano that squirted lava out of the top. Cool. Sister's class learned about plants and animals. They took care of a cute little hamster and kept a lizard and a frog in a glass case full of plants and mossy rocks. They brought cocoons in from the cold to watch as beautiful butterflies and moths hatched out of them. Honey learned things too. She played with toys that taught her shapes and numbers. She learned how to do things with other cubs, but she did not need to learn how to take naps. She was already good at that. I too am good at naps. I plan to take one later. The Cubs did other fun things at school too. They played sports like soccer, basketball, and baseball. They played games during recess. They went on exciting field trips to interesting places. The Cubs enjoyed their school year, but they were ready for a break. They were looking forward to summer, to picnics and swimming, to hiking and fishing, to long summer evenings of chasing fireflies and toasting marshmallows. When the month of May came to an end, it was time to turn the calendar to June. The Cubs drew a big red circle around the last day of school and crossed off each day as it passed. This year, the Bear County School was having a real graduation ceremony for every grade in the school. Mama and Papa thought this was a nice idea. It would make everyone stop and think about how much the Cubs had learned and done during the whole year of school. Best of all, said Sister, we get to wear cute graduation costumes. Ugh, said Brother. I don't want to look cute. At last, graduation day arrived, and the Cubs put on their costumes. They each had a little cap and gown. Even Brother had to admit they didn't look too bad. Brother's was blue, Sister's and Honey's were white. The caps had tassels that kept getting in the Cubs' faces. They tried to blow them out of the way. Grizzly, Gramps, and Gran stopped by to take pictures. My, aren't they adorable, said Gran, wiping away a tear. Time we got going, young'uns, said Gramps, looking at his watch. You don't want to be late for your own graduation day. When the family arrived at school, the auditorium was packed with the families of graduating students. Then the school band began to play. They played good and loud. The graduating Cubs in their caps and gowns marched down the aisle and up onto the stage. Look, said Gran, there's Brother, Sister, and Honey. Gramps stood on his chair to take a picture. Get down from there before you hurt yourself, scolded Gran. Principal Honeycomb made a few brief remarks. Then Ferdy Factual, one of the best students in school, gave a speech about honesty, hard work, good sportsmanship, caring for others, and being true to yourself. That's Professor Actual Factual's nephew, Mama whispered to Gran. Papa and Gramps fell asleep. Mama and Gran poked them awake. Finally, all of the students filed across the stage as their names were called. Principal Honeycomb handed them their diplomas, fancy rolled up pieces of paper with their names on them. Gramps stood on his chair to take pictures again as Brother, Sister, and Honey received their diplomas. As they marched back down the aisle, cameras flashed, an audience clapped and whistled. Gramps even honked on a loud noisemaker. Honk! Outside in the schoolyard, the graduating Cubs laughed and cried, hugging one another and posing for pictures. They wouldn't be all together again until the next school year. Too Tall Grizzly took off his cap and yelled, All together now! 1, 2, 3! He yelled, throwing his cap in the air. All the Cubs threw their caps in the air. They made a pretty blue and white cloud. Yay! All the Cubs yelled. Honey took off her little white cap too. 1, 2, fwee! She called, throwing it in the air. I didn't know Honey could count, said Gran. She learned this year in daycare, said Papa. That's what graduation day is all about, being proud of everything our students did in school this year. And be excited about all the wonderful things they're going to be doing next year, added Mama. Gramps took another picture. Squeeze in closer and say honey, he said. Honey, they all said as the camera clicked. So, yeah, that's it. School year's over. Congratulations. I'm really proud of you. You guys did a great job. Um, I know for a fact that, uh, my son is eighth grade going to ninth grade, and they didn't get to do the eighth grade quote graduation this year. And I have a niece who graduates high school, and she didn't get to do her graduation this year. My daughter graduated from college last year, so we got to go sit through that. So, well, guys, this is it. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we will see you next week with Summertime of my phone's ringing. Story time with Mr. Hallum.